Excited to be here. You're pretty famous in this world now, actually. All right, this is Dean Henry. If you don't know Dean, he is the founder of UAE Peptides and is just brilliant across all the boards on helping clear away the fluff, and really, it's education. It's really education. So I just want to start though. How did you start? How did you get into, like, you were such an early adopter in this whole thing?
Yeah, that was a very kind introduction. Thank you. Yeah. Around about 2014, 15, I listened to a podcast, and they was talking about epithalon or epithalon.
Yeah.
And it was a Russian-founded peptide. And they said that through 7-year studies in Russia, it was shown to increase the length of your telomeres. It's not just slow down, increase. So reverse aging at a cellular level. When I first heard that, how could I not be interested?
Yeah. Okay, wait, just for the viewers out there, telomeres are one of the pillars of longevity. And the telomeres are like these shorter, maybe you can explain it better.
Well, they're the end of the DNA. So I always explain it like it's the end of your shoelace.
Yeah,
you know, you get a little cap at the end of the shoelace, and as it starts to decrease, that's aging.
Yeah.
So you imagine, and once it's completely decreased, the cell will die, and that's when your shoelace goes all frayy. So we're just putting that end of the shoelace back on, and now we're extending it.
So there's literally a peptide that can help lengthen our lifespan.
The studies show that, yes.
Study shows. Okay, great. Okay, so that was 2014.
Yeah, that was 2014, 15. And then very close to that, I found or discovered BPC 157. Mm-hmm. And with my sort of sports background training, and actually probably more importantly, my injury background. I had my first ACL injury when I was 15, 16. I was a sprinter, played a bit of football. And at the time, and that was a long time ago when I was 15, they snapped my ACL and they started to shave my cartilage constantly. So they were missing the ACL. So obviously I never went back to sport because my knee just kept giving way. So, you know, through the years, I think I had an operation around that time just before then, and I found BPC 157 and I could just feel it working.
Yep. Yeah.
And that just opened up.
What sports were you playing?
I was footballer, soccer.
Soccer, as we say in America.
And that's when I snapped my ACL playing football, and I was a 100-meter sprinter. But this all finished when I was 16.
That's where your quads come from. Yeah. Okay. I would love to hear some stories of the healing powers and the magic that you've seen with BPC. It's actually. That was like my gateway peptide also it just is such a healer. So give me some of your, do you have a couple top stories of how this is healed?
For sure. I have one in memory, which was probably about 5 years ago, one of my clients, and he was a martial arts instructor, and he had such bad injuries and hip pain that he couldn't do his profession anymore. And then he did BPC. And the reason why I like this story is because he tried BPC, and he did it for 3 months. He didn't notice any benefits. But then we have to understand, when we've got old injuries, this stuff's not magic. It's just not going to repair you. If you've had it for years, it's not going to repair you in 3 months, right? So you have to be mindful and methodical. So he did the 12 weeks, took a break, did another 12 weeks, took a break, did another 12 weeks, completely healed him back to teaching martial arts again. And there was no way that was not the BPC, because he tried for years to recover.
Did he pair it with the TB500? Can you talk to us about this Wolverine stock and what's the difference between BPC and TB500 and why people love taking it together?
Yeah, so BPC 157 is found in the intestines, the gastric juices. Yeah. Okay. So it's a 15-chain amino acid that focuses on connective tissue. So connective tissue, blood vessels, cell migration. So it's really good for the heart as well, because it's optimizing blood vessels. TB500 or thymosin beta-4, a 43-chain amino acid that's more broad spectrum. However, it can target soft tissue. So you're targeting connective tissue, as in ligaments and cartilage, and soft tissue, muscle and fascia. And it also does the blood vessel as well. So it's optimizing blood vessel cell migration, but you're doing soft tissue and connective tissue together. So any injury you've got, that really should help recover.
And do you recommend, if you have like a specific injury, hamstring tears, knee, whatever, that you take them together, or should you do one? Okay.
Absolutely, take both together.
And so the BPC is also a peptide that can be bioavailable as a capsule. It's like one of the only peptides, right? What are your thoughts on that?
Yes. I mean, there are more, but the reason why that's interesting is because it's normally peptides that are below 10 amino acid chains that are bioavailable to work systemically, so they can break through the endothelium into the bloodstream. However, BPC is a 15-chain amino acid. Oh. So there are some more advancement now in science where they've included different carriers to make it go through the bloodstream more effectively. I'm still a bit on the fence about that, but there are some people that I really respect in the space that's saying it does work better. However, if I just go back to the basic science, 15 chains won't break through the endothelium in the most. However, of course, you don't need for it to break through the gut lining if you want to fix your gut.
Okay.
So a lot of these peptides, these regeneration peptides, they work really well orally to fix the gut.
Yeah.
And sometimes that can be the root cause of other pain.
Everything.
Right? So,
yeah. Inflammation.
Yeah.
Like as a gut health specialist, it's like we have to be looking at inflammation chronically in the body because that leads to Alzheimer's. That leads to everything else.
There we go. So and
okay.
so some people argue that with me, which I don't mind as long as they feel better. But said my back pain is gone, and you said that BPC wouldn't work orally. I said, well, it's probably something to do with your gut.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Wow, the correlation is crazy. Okay, one of my favorite stories is I grew up on a farm, and my mom is 73. She's out there milking cows every day, throwing the hay bales, like all this stuff, and she has kind of like arthritic hands. And I took one dose and I injected it into her knuckles, and I forgot about it. And then the next day she called me and she said it was the first time that she'd been able to open her hands in years.
Amazing.
And it was stories like that I was just like, oh my gosh. So you can either kind of like microdose it, right? Like a little bit every single day.
Yep.
Or you could I just jabbed my mom with like a half a needle. I mean, it was like a whammy dose.
Yeah. And
she felt it. So what's your take on
so
dosage?
I think for the everyday person would be to take it subcutaneously, no matter where the injury is.
Okay, fine.
Just
into
subcutaneous fat.
Fine. Yep.
And this way it will work systemically around the body. It's not quite as targeted as what you did. Yours was very brave.
Yeah.
I like that.
Boom.
The reason why I don't really say that to the lay person is because there's so much noise and veins everywhere. You just don't want to miss it, right? So, I mean, I had BPC into the tendon in my elbow, but that was using ultrasound. So the doctor used ultrasound, got my BPC, a very, very long needle, and put it straight into the tendon to rehabilitate a tennis elbow.
Yeah. Okay. KPV, also known as another gut healing peptide. What's the difference between BPC and KPV?
KPV is a really interesting peptide. So it's from the alpha melanocyte stimulating hormone.
Can you say that slower?
Sorry, that alpha melanocyte stimulating hormone.
I hope you wrote that one down.
AMSH. That hormone is responsible as an anti-inflammatory. It kills cytokines, inflammatory cytokines, and it's at the end of this AMSH hormone is a 13-chain hormone, amino acid.
Yeah.
And those 13 chains replicate what melanotan 1 is.
Okay.
So where you get melanotan 1, that's a 13-chain amino acid. Melanotan 2 is a 7-chain amino acid.
I was going to say, what's the difference between MT1 and MT2?
Yeah, so MT2 is a 7-amino extract of M1. Okay, so there is a reason for this one. I'm answering the KPV.
Okay.
And then we have a PT141 for sexual health, libido, erectile dysfunction, and that's also a similar 7-chain from that 13-chain.
Okay.
At the very end of the 13-chain is 3 amino acids, KPV. And the reason why that's interesting is because melanotan is obviously for your pigmentation. So what we find with KPV, it's an anti-inflammatory. So when taken systemically, we see it working really well for things like rosacea and acne because it seems to be targeting inflammation in the skin. But because it's only a tripeptide, it's a very, very small peptide. Taking it orally can really help with inflammation in the gut as well.
Okay, so as someone who coaches a lot on gut health, I mean, I'm still kind of a little unsure on again, this is not medical advice. This is just like our own, usage and stuff. But yeah, I think educating and the more that we're sharing what's actual facts is really helpful. So again, someone's coming to me for some kind of gut health issue. Am I going the BPC route or the KPV route?
I would suggest starting with lorazepatide, just to complicate it even more.
Wow, I've never heard of this one.
Okay, so that's the 8-chain amino acid. What's really interesting about lorazepatide is that normally these peptides are derivatives or fragments from hormones or immune system in the body, but this is not. This is actually from bacteria in water. Interestingly, so this is an 8-chain amino acid from a bacteria in water.
Okay.
It doesn't target receptor proteins like other peptides. It targets tight junction protein.
Wow.
So you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
So the tight junctions are little bodyguards for your cells.
Yeah, leaky gut.
There we go. So it's been heavily researched for celiac disease, and I've seen really good results of this. And actually, some people, and we might be covering off some things we might want to discuss later, but some some people that do not respond well to peptides could be due to intestinal permeability.
Of course.
Start with lorazepatide. He'll tighten up those junctions, heal the permeability, and then do your peptide protocols.
Whoa.
So, 3 together, lorazepatide, BPC, lorazepatide, LRA. So lorazepatide, KPV, BPC together work really well. And there is a capsule that we offer that includes
That's
all
like
of
a
those.
triple grand slam right there.
Yeah.
That is the grand slam of peptides for gut health.
I think so.
Okay,
I think so.
fabulous.
Mm.
Okay, you mentioned one called MT2, which I've been taking.
Oh,
This is my skin. This is why everybody's like, "Wow, you're so tan." I'm like, "Yeah, peptides." I mean, I definitely have noticed like my moles have definitely gotten a lot darker,
Okay.
which I don't necessarily mind because I really like the tan.
Okay.
But will the moles kind of go down, or like did I do some permanent, damage?
So from what I've seen, they do go down.
Okay.
I'm
Along with my tan. My tan's also going to go down.
Of course, they will.
Okay, okay,
Unfortunately,
fine.
yeah, I'm not
Okay.
on MT2 by
Okay,
the way,
okay,
so
yeah,
I have a
you're
little
also not-
advantage.
yeah.
So, but no, so a lot of people ask me about skin cancer and MT2. I'm not a medical professional.
Yeah.
Moles are darkening. If that is a concern, it's probably not a good thing.
Yeah.
So we know the reason isn't that, but I just try to avoid that and say, look, if you have any concerns like this, then just don't do it.
Don't
right?
do
Just
it or go
don't
see
do
a
it.
doctor. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But so they should lighten up. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, one of the questions was like, again, if you stop taking this, does it come back? So, for example, let's talk about GHKCU. I know that you also just posted a really good reel on your page. But GHKCU, the copper, the glow, the collagen, the skin, like if I stop taking it, am I gonna like turn ugly, or like what happens with this?
I love that question. So if we think that all our peptide processes were at their optimal when we were younger.
Yeah.
So 21 to 25 is
And
really
then
when
you
they're at
said
optimal.
after the age of 25.
After the age of 25 is when things like your growth hormone starts to decrease, and that's a process, right? Peptides are involved in that process. Collagen, of course, we know starts to reduce, which GHKCU helps optimize. So that's aging. Now, whether we're slowing down aging or we're accelerated aging or just aging like the normal person, we're still aging. So when we take these peptides, they're going to start to decline over time. But then this is about the most important thing, which we know is about fat, is the foundation. It's the healthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
So the healthier your lifestyle is, the slower these peptides are going to start to reduce. What we're doing now is we're getting your base level back up for whatever the target area is. We're increasing your base level. Then it's down to you and your lifestyle. If you're out drinking, not partying, not going to the gym, eating junk food, then it's going to decrease a lot more quickly. If you've got an optimal lifestyle, then it's going to stay at that baseline a lot longer.
Okay. Talk to me about, talk to me a little bit more about GHKCU. I know that you had some really good stuff in your reels and stuff. So my experience with it is definitely bruising and stinging upon injection into my fat. So I heard that you can also put it into your thighs. Is that a better place for it?
Yeah, I quite like it at the top of my thigh. It tends to sting less there. Look, the irritation is from the copper. So most of the peptides we use are close to being pH neutral. Copper is slightly less, 5 or something, don't quote me on that, but I think it's about pH 5. So it's more acidic. So when you're putting something more acidic into the body, you're just going to irritate. What's really interesting, and I'm experimenting with now, and I've heard some good reviews on this, but to be brutally honest, I haven't tried it yet with any of my clients, even though I've recommended it, is to take KPV immediately after. And from what I've read, it can help to reduce the inflammation.
In the same spot, you think? Like same spot, or does it matter?
Centimetre or an inch away.
Okay.
Because obviously it's quite localized to do it there. And then, so I haven't had any feedback on that yet, but from what I've read, that can work, and it does make sense.
What are your thoughts on the topical cream, copper cream?
Good. I mean, topical cream's okay. I mean, obviously, only the bioavailability is better than most other peptides.
And can you put it on your whole body, or is it most people putting it on your skin?
Extremely expensive.
Okay, yeah. I was going to say one little jar is like 900 dirham.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
it's like gold. Yeah. This is like lotion gold.
Absolutely. By all means, put it all over your body. It will definitely help.
Yeah, let's get crazy.
But look, GHKCU microneedling. So if you're going to do it for the face, you can just use the GHKCU copper microneedling.
Great, because I'm trying to get away from Botox. Like I want to stop taking toxins in my face.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and you see results in 2 weeks. I've had it twice now. My daughter actually does it in the UK.
Wow.
And you see good results in 2 weeks.
At what age do you think people can start taking peptides?
The responsible answer is usually 21.
Okay.
I'd say if you're healthy, then you really shouldn't need to be taking peptides before you're 25.
Yeah, I got some young kids wanting to try it. I'm like, why? For what?
Yeah.
I know it's going a lot around reels and stuff on Instagram and TikTok, and I'm just like, why are you messing with that?
Yeah.
But what if like a 17-year-old had an injury?
I'm smiling because my daughter was doing athletics and she couldn't recover from a knee injury.
Okay.
And she couldn't recover.
Okay.
So in
What do you mean couldn't recover?
she was, well, firstly they were really pushing her. It was quite a hard coach, and she wasn't really allowed to take a break. If she took a break, she had to be
How
on the
old is
team.
she?
She's 17.
And wow, okay, random, okay. And what sport was she playing?
She was just doing athletics, so she's doing sprinting, 400 meters. I mean, she's changed from that now. She's just a gym buff now.
Great. Let her lift some weights.
Exactly, that's the way forward. We know that.
Yeah.
I knew it'd rub off eventually. But she just couldn't recover because she was training so much, and then she'll take the weekend off, and sometimes she was in tears with so much pain, but she wanted to keep going. I said, okay, all right, this is under my roof, my responsibility. I've been doing this a long time, and let's just do a little BPC protocol for you. And what I've seen when younger people take BPC, the results are so quick.
Wow.
It's annoying because their receptors are so sensitive and it's already there. Right, so all we're doing is just triggering.
How much were you taking? How much was she taking?
She did 250 mcg morning and evening for 5 days on, 2 days off. We only needed it for 2 weeks. Completely recovered. It's just, I was so happy for her, but also so annoyed how quickly it worked out.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Let me just make sure this is still going. Okay, yeah, we're good. Okay, I would love to know a little bit about some PT-141 / oxytocin nasal spray.
Okay.
And then also the injectable and the difference between both.
Okay. So PT-141 just as an injectable.
For men and women.
For men and women.
Okay.
And this is just to increase libido.
Okay.
And you can do it as a protocol. I think it's 250 or 500 mcg in the afternoon. 5 days on, 2 days off for 2 to 4 weeks. And this will help to increase your libido level over time. But of course, you can take, I think it's the 500 mcg, you can take around about 2 or 3 hours before it's required.
Okay.
And then that can also have the desired effect for the night or day of interest, depending on.
This is like a peptide Viagra.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's
for men and women.
For men and women.
Wow,
yeah.
okay, epic.
As a nasal spray, with oxytocin,
Yeah.
I mean, apparently from my lab in the US, they said it's their biggest seller.
Yeah. I mean, like this is like a big, this is a huge, and nobody wants to talk about this.
No.
Everyone's too like shy and nervous to talk about it, but like ED is a big problem.
Absolutely.
So,
Yep.
and I mean, also women that are struggling with libido issues, they're overworked, overrun, the kids are nagging on them all the time. I know a lot of women that just don't have that libido anymore.
No.
So, okay, so this one's only like 2 weeks on.
It's very short because what we're trying to avoid here is dependency. That's a lot with any of these sort of. None of these peptides are acting as a stimulant as such. We're just optimizing the target area. But I think things like oxytocin, it's a dopamine, it's a feel good. Now, can you get addicted to it? No, probably not. But can you get addicted to the habit? It's habitual. So suddenly, you're taking a nasal spray and you feel good.
Yeah.
But then, the next day you're not taking a nasal spray. I don't feel so great today. And then suddenly you go, I need it. And that's what we need to be really careful of. So it actually, even in the research, it's saying to do PT-141 only 3 times or 12 times a month.
Okay.
So, and people take it before they desire
half a
it.
month. That's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, if you've been married for 20 odd years and you use it 12 times a month, fair play to you.
What a boost. Okay.
Fair play to you.
Noted. Great. Let's talk about best peptides for perimenopausal women or menopausal women.
Yeah. So it's quite broad spectrum because as you know, there's so many symptoms of perimenopause.
Yes.
I think it was in the 70s or 80s, right? I think I heard. So firstly, we want to try and maintain muscle. So ipamorelin, the growth hormone secretagogue, the 5-amino chain, which targets through the ghrelin hormone. It doesn't make you more hungry and then hits the pituitary gland.
Okay.
Okay. Then hits the pituitary gland, and that stimulates endogenous growth hormone production. Females seem to do better on that based on my research.
And so why is it's ipamorelin that's always paired with CJC?
It's paired with it's paired with GHRH, be it CJC or tesamorelin.
Okay.
I can go deeper into the details. So GHRH in the body is a 44-chain amino acid.
44.
44 chain. Tesamorelin is the identical 44 chain of amino acids. So when people, and it's been slightly modified to extend the half-life a little bit. So when people take this, they seem to respond to it more naturally. Now that is FDA approved. It was approved for men with HIV carrying too much visceral fat, and this is so the medication would work for them. So you get all the benefits of growth hormone, better sleep, better energy, build muscle, burn fat, also targets visceral fat, which is really good.
Okay.
If anybody's starting on a growth hormone protocol, we're digressing here, sorry, but if anyone's starting on a growth hormone secretagogue protocol, I rarely start them on CJC 1295 because it tends to activate mast cells. for sensitive people. So they get a complete histamine reaction. And when they start with CJC1295, any growth hormone secretagogue they do after that, they seem to react. So I know CJC1295 is trending and everyone's talking about it, but this is what I look out for on social media now.
I just got some and I have not, I haven't tried it yet. Okay. I've taken HGH in the past.
If I was consulting you, then if you told me that, CJC is fine. Someone new to peptides and have never put needles in themselves before, even the metal and the CJC together, just start with testosterone. As a female, I'd say start with ipamorelin. The reason why they work well as a pair is the GHRH, testosterone and CJC, targets the pituitary gland directly to stimulate endogenous growth hormone. The ipamorelin, the GHRP, targets the ghrelin hormone, which then hits the pituitary gland. So you're actually having two delivery pathways. And when you're doing that, that's the closest we can get to synthetic growth hormone. So, because all the bodybuilders and what have you, they love growth hormone. This is as close as we can get by doing two different pathways a lot more safely than growth hormone, of course.
Okay. So for my perimenopausal women that are like in shape, they're pretty good, but they're just going through some hormonal changes, maybe start them with ipamorelin.
So an ipamorelin protocol, 250 mcg before bed, because your growth hormone's optimized in the first 2 hours of sleep. So
should I also take HGH before bed or in the morning?
HGH, I mean, it's not my speciality, but all the research says before bed.
Before bed, okay. Taking it wrong. All right. I was doing it fasted in the morning, but that's good to know.
Yeah, I did some research on that, and it's okay if you want to do that. There's no massive downside, but you want to do it with your natural growth hormone burst, and that's when you go to bed.
Right. Okay, and this is why sleep is so important. Okay,
absolutely.
How about MOTS-C for perimenopausal women?
MOTS-C
for anybody?
Yeah, well, MOTS-C. So
mitochondria health.
Unfortunately, you've touched on the two peptides that I'm very on the fence about.
Okay.
So MOTS-C is trending.
Yes.
And it's the one that's frustrated me the most.
Oh.
Because what people are doing, they're following all the noise on social media.
Yeah, there's so much of it too.
Yeah, and I'm seeing this from doctors more than anyone, because there's a lot of I don't want to be controversial, but there's a lot of doctors jumping on the bandwagon because they can see they can monetize from it. And they can see where the market's going and think, right, I'm a doctor, you must use me if you're going to use peptides, which is a contradiction in terms anyway, because it's not approved, right? So they didn't learn about it in med school. Where did you learn about it? Oh, I've been on a 2-week course. They probably won't tell you that, but that is the case. So we go on this course. I've got 11 years. I was working out the other day. I've got like 2,000 hours of study material, real life data, client feedback. I've seen what's going on. Now, I was told by my guru in 2015, a gentleman called Francois, who was based in Canada, that you should only pulse MOTS-C and only do it for 2 weeks, maximum 4 weeks. When I say pulse, once, twice, or 3 times a week. Don't run it any longer, because what you're going to start to do is create. Basically, you can have an allergic reaction to MOTS-C even if you're not allergic to it. So I saw a very affluent client come to me and said, I've been working with one of the top doctors in peptides in the US, and I've got anaphylactic shock. And I went straight away, you was taking MOTS-C every day like a normal peptide? He said, yes. They just don't understand. So you have to be very careful with it, because it just acts slightly differently. It does target receptor proteins, but it's DNA encoded from the mitochondria. So it's very, very potent. And what it's doing, because the mitochondria is in all our cells, it's going to all the cells, and it's staying there for a bit longer than just sort of targeting the receptor protein, short half-life. It's not doing that. It's sitting around the cells for a long time. You get that compounded effect over time. Yeah. You will eventually have a reaction. People listening to this will say, well, I've taken MOTS-C for 6 weeks, never had a problem. That's good. But at some point, there's a strong possibility it will catch up with you, and you can get the same outcome just by doing these slow pulses. Three times a week, 2 weeks, take 2 weeks off, do another 2 weeks, have a break for 3 months, and just allow it. Because peptides are always low and slow, right?
And this isn't the number one thing. Start off small. I mean, I didn't feel retatrutide for the first 6 weeks that I was taking it. And whereas other people, they did one shot and they felt it. So it definitely works different for everybody, but start off slow.
Please.
I mean, I think that the reason why Ozempic and Mounjaro were getting such a bad rap is that people were expecting these overnight results, and then their dosages, they just kept increasing, going up and going up and going up, without your body, can't recover that fast, right? You're not supposed to drop 10 kilos in a month. It's just not good for you.
No. Yeah, and there's some studies coming out on retatrutide now, which I'm really worried about.
Oh no.
Yeah, because I've seen side effects at microdosing, very minimal, very rarely. because we can start so low and then end up doing 1.5 milligram a week, split over 2 or 3 shots. And again, people that are really into this say, yeah, but that doesn't make sense. We want them to hit as many receptors as possible, do a higher dose once a week. So I've seen amazing results at 1.5 milligram, even at 1 milligram.
And when do most people see a result taking 1.5 milligram?
Results, the sort of the end of the first 6-week cycle. So weeks 5 and 6.
So I was right on par.
Slow compounded effect over time.
Okay.
The medical studies that are being researched at the moment, I'm being told that they're going to release this to the medical community at 9 milligrams to 12 milligrams, 1 shot per week. And now they're already showing some side effects.
Why would you inject that much?
I mean, to be fair, they're working with
really obese people,
diabetics. We're not obese diabetics. Most people in this biohacking health optimization community are not that.
We're a little switched on. Yeah. I mean, I was at Jay Campbell's conference and heard him in a talk, and it was like, people that are taking peptides are like the 1%ers of the population because of all the math. Just the simplicity, like all the math that you have to do to figure out how much water you have to inject and put it in the milligrams and milliliters and like everything, right?
Jay and I share, probably once every 2 weeks, we share some messages between us about people asking about measurements.
Yeah.
So one person said to me, well, I've got a 1 milligram vial and I put 1 ml in it and I have to take half a milligram. I'm so confused. So, okay, maybe peptides are not for you.
So you have to be a little bit switched on to be using this stuff. And so where can people figure out protocols and stuff? I mean, because there's like so much noise on social media, but no one's actually educating and explaining like the basics.
Yeah. You need to research your researcher, right? So, if it is a doctor, and I sort of, when I talk like this, I feel like I'm really targeting doctors because I've just seen them come with so much nonsense, and they, that they're held in a high regard, so they should be more responsible. So I take that as a personal attack. I take it personally. But the caveat to all of this is that some of the best people I've worked with in the sector are doctors, normally US based. They've been in the industry longer or just as long as I have. They've been doing this in clinic. They've been working with this in stem cells, and they've been on the edge of this for a very long time, and they understand peptides. These are people that I aspire to. So somebody like that. And it's about the hours and the response rates and the feedback from clients. If someone's been doing it for 2 years, it's not great. If someone's been in it for half a decade or longer and got some real feedback, because it's just the biological individual nature. You need to know where to stop and start and adjust protocols, and you can't really learn that in 2 years.
Okay, so your favorite weight loss peptide?
I would say it's the blend or the stack, the CJC and ipamorelin or the testosterone ipamorelin, because growth hormone helps burn fat, builds muscle. Retatrutide, microdose, 6 weeks on, 6 weeks off, being really strict, as you say. Don't expect quick results. 6 on, 6 off.
Yeah. And during your time off, because I totally felt like that food noise. I'm a sugar addict, and I'm also like a snacker. And throughout I was a heavy competitor in CrossFit. That was my sport, powerlifting, CrossFit. But back then, nobody was talking about fasting, hypoglycemia, gut health, anything. And so it really did help cut out the noise of constantly wanting to graze all day. So when you do go off of it, does that noise come back?
So that's interesting, because when I've experimented with it and worked with people that are more mindful and intuitive, it doesn't come back.
Okay.
Again, it's this habitual thing. I've stopped taking it, now it's going to come back. Psychologically, they think it's coming back and they rebound. And I said, are you sure? And they said, yeah, I'm really hungry again, I'm craving again. I'm like, okay. And then I say, okay, we'll just try and sit with it for a week or two and see how you feel, and then we can discuss your next protocol. Around about 10 days later, they come back and say, actually, I still feel fine. I'm not really craving it. So it's one of those things, you can switch that back on again just by saying, oh, actually, I do feel like
it's up here. It's like so much up here. So my recommendation is always, I'm like, look, you have to nail the basics, right? Like, why are you going to spend all this money on peptides and all this money on supplements if you can't even get to the gym 3 times a week and get your nutrition dialed in? But then also on the other side, I've heard stories of people that have started a GLP-1 or some kind of weight loss stack, and because it's cut the noise out, they've changed their habits. So I'm conflicted on like what to tell someone that's like keen to start and they're motivated. Like, what came first, the chicken or the egg?
It's interesting because, of course, we want to encourage lifestyle,
healthy lifestyle
foundation. Let's try and repair that injury first by doing some physio and exercise. If it doesn't work, then let's try the BPC. If the BPC doesn't work, stem cells. I don't know, but because BPC is just encouraging what you can heal naturally. You might not be able to heal naturally. It might not work.
Yeah.
But again, it's client specific. If you have got a client that just can't lose weight, and no matter how hard they try, they're training, but they're still eating crap. Okay, let's try a microdose of retatrutide. But definitely the chicken or egg scenario in 80% of the cases is lifestyle foundation. And then once you get that good habit, then it's sometimes even harder because now you've been on the GLP, you have to come off of it.
Yeah.
And when you come off of it, it's like, right, now you've got to do it without it.
Yeah.
You need that mindset.
Yeah. Okay. That's when you hire a coach to give you some accountability. Okay. I want to take like a quick rapid fire questions. Okay. Breakfast or intermittent fasting?
For me, breakfast.
Okay. One biohack that you wish more people would do?
I would say cold plunging, and I didn't say ice baths, I said cold plunging, because there is this rebuttal saying, yeah, but it's bad for my hormones. So, well, okay, well, don't start at 2 degrees, start at 15 degrees. So like saying I can't go to the gym because I can't lift heavy weight. We'll start off really light. You don't have to jump in 5 degrees.
Okay.
You can do 15 degrees and just build up to where you're comfortable, just giving you that nice little surge.
Great. Strength training or cardio?
Strength.
One peptide you're most excited about right now?
Oh, it's a tough one. I think ARA 290.
Tell me, I've never heard of this one. Sounds like a machine gun.
Okay, it's 11-chain amino acid for neuropathy. So really good for nerve damage and nerve pain.
Wow.
Importantly, nerve damage. Now, this is the one that might sound a little bit conspiracy. I apologize if it does.
Okay.
But it's been researched since 2010. There's been human trials and human studies, and it's shown in the human studies not only to stop the pain, but also regenerate nerves. And then the study stopped. So it's not a nerve blocker.
Okay.
It's regenerating nerves.
Crazy.
And from what I can see, and that was 15 years ago. I've not seen any further research on it.
Wow. Okay, great. Let's keep that one in our window. Okay. And then one word to describe your current frequency.
High, and that's because I'm back on a calorie surplus.
Yay!
Why
were you
I was on a calorie deficit for my 50th birthday, trying to get lean and cut, and I did it for 3 months. Never really done it before, so I never wanted to lose weight before. I've always been fairly lean. But I thought I'm gonna get to that 8% sort of body fat because I'm 50 and I'm midlife crisis. And it's either that or a Porsche, right? So we went for the.
Guys, look at that. 50 years old.
50, yeah. So
holy moly! Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, that's a big one.
Yeah, and because I've never really been in a deficit before. I mean, you know this more than me because of who you train and what you do. But personally, I've never been there before. And you go to the gym,
been lean, feeling good, but you had like specific goals, wanted to get shredded, feeling your best, energy levels.
Wow, going to the gym I'm not motivated to be here. Strength was declining. And now I'm 6 weeks in like 100 to 200 calorie surplus a day just to put on lean muscle slowly. So I want to try and put on 6 kilos of lean muscle by my next birthday when I'm 51. And I'm just loving life. The gym, I just feel so motivated. I'm also doing 1 day on, 1 day off. And that's really helped my frequency because I'm not thinking about going to the gym that day. It's active recovery, saunas, walks and whatever, but it's just giving me that sort of space. And I'm recovering properly because I am 50. So I'm recovering properly and I'm going to the gym again. By that next session, I'm so motivated. Calories with me, training hard. So that's why I'm feeling
so what would you tell 40-year-old men, like looking back a decade that you've learned everything to get, I mean, look at this body at 50. Like what would you tell 40-year-old men? I don't want to contradict myself, but get yourself into a calorie deficit because the other thing I found, just for any sort of space of time, of course, if you're already very skinny, you want to put on muscle, that doesn't make sense, but be sensible of your Most
calorie
people
surplus.
are inflamed and overweight,
Absolutely.
so you're dad bod.
Yeah, and and once you do that for say 3 months, just be strict for 3 months. Everything after that's so much easier because you're insulin sensitive now. And now, so the muscle I'm putting on, as I put on 2 kg of muscle since my birthday in 6-7 weeks.
Wow.
And you can get away with eating a little bit more because you're more insulin sensitive.
Yeah. Okay, I love that. Let's talk about some peptides for men. Okay, so we didn't really let's rapid fire top peptides for perimenopausal women without going into detail.
Okay, so ovary bioregulator to regulate sex hormones.
I'm going to
Ipamorelin. C-Max for focus and brain fog, and Selank for mood regulation.
Okay, and the C-Lank and C-Max, I've seen those also as nasal sprays. What's your take on that?
Much better as nasal sprays. When you think about how we take these peptides, so we try not to digress, it's supposed to be quick fire, but subcutaneous is systemic. Oral is for stomach, nasal sprays is closer to the brain, it's for neuroreceptors.
So for like the anxiety and the brain fog and the overwhelm, the nasal spray,
Absolutely.
my, okay, I need to get some of these. Okay.
They're really good.
I just want to try it just to see. It's like, okay. And then best peptides for men, like
For men, testosterone and ipamorelin again, sleep, energy, building muscle, burning fat. The testes bioregulator to regulate testicular function. And yeah, I'd say those three are a good start, actually.
Okay. Men dealing with prostate issues.
Prostate bioregulator.
Okay.
So it's regulating the prostate.
Great. Best peptides for sleep.
Sleep, delta sleep inducing peptide. So I take that here. Again, it's a nasal spray because we're trying to hit those neuroreceptors to help you sleep. When I travel now, I take DSIP nasal spray. And I've been taking that on this break in Dubai. And my sleep score's gone up my aura while I'm traveling. It's never happened before.
Wow. Okay, epic. Yeah, because I know that you travel a lot. So, I mean, a lot of my clients are on the road in the airports. Are you taking your vials or pens or whatever on the road with you? Yeah, in a little cooler box?
I've been traveling with them for 12 years.
Never a problem.
No,
okay.
Put it in my suitcase. Don't put it in your hand luggage because it's just going to create questions. Nothing illegal, but of course you get the wrong customs. The only place I probably wouldn't travel when I did travel was the US. But just because of the regulations there, sort of crossing the border with peptides, I don't know. Maybe I'm being a bit paranoid. But
I mean, I have literally traveled the world with a suitcase of powders and supplements, and it's never been a problem. But yeah, that's fine. Okay, talk to me the difference between pens versus vials.
Pens versus vials. Pens are ready-made. They do have slightly more fillers in them because they have a 2-year shelf life. But I have been
still going. Yes, we're good.
I've been working with both pens and vials for obviously well over a decade. Pens for about 16 months. Pens are a lot more popular because they're so convenient.
But more expensive?
Milligram per milligram, about the same.
Okay.
Generally.
Fine. So what if, like, for example, I mean, with GHKCU, I started taking it. I did my 20 days. I still have like half a pen left. It's fine?
I mean, once you activate it, it only lasts for about 6 weeks, but GHKC you should definitely do longer than 20 days.
Oh, okay, because I thought it was like 20 days on, 20 days off.
6 weeks.
6 weeks? Okay, fine.
5 days on, 2 days off to avoid irritation.
Okay, fine. Let's talk about like the legalities in Dubai. Can we talk about that?
Dubai is actually much easier because they have compound pharmacies here. So you can compound and get prescription. The only peptides they struggle to compound or legally allowed to prescribe are the ones that are regulated, it seems. So testosterone, which is regulated by the FDA, they can't do that for some reason. But of course, we also have companies like mine that have research licenses, and we're able to use peptides for research purposes only. Many clinics buy from my company and relabel them because they've tested the peptides, they've got all the COAs, MSDSs, endotoxin reports, and they said actually these are a very good level. So
I noticed that you're also selling bioregulators, and I just like, why aren't those popular right now?
Just not trendy. The reason why there's been a big surge in peptides is because of Ozempic, right?
Okay.
Suddenly, when I've been speaking to people about needles for the last 10 years.
Nobody wanted to do it. And then all of a sudden Ozempic came out and like everybody's jabbing themselves. Everybody.
Oh, so Ozempic's a peptide. I say, okay, it is.
I
call that a peptide drug. So peptides we work with are therapeutic peptides. GLPs are peptide drugs just because they extended the half-life. So that was why there's just been a big surge. Now, of course, you're not injecting yourself. Well, you don't have to inject yourself with bioregulators, because they're only 2 to 4 amino acid chains. They work like little DNA switches, and they optimize, they upregulate or downregulate depending on what that area needs. I always say it's like building the grip back on a ball tire. So it's really optimizing that sort of epigenetic target area, and the results I've seen are profound. But people they're just not cool enough. But most of my protocols I usually give a bioregulator as the base.
So again, someone that's never taken peptides, are you going to be like, hey, try bioregulators first?
They're not going to get the same effect because there's always this theory that the peptide didn't work. And if for instance, I always say like I was an alcoholic. When I used to go out partying, I used to drink, right? So then I thought, well, my liver can't be in the best condition, so I took the liver bioregulator. So I took it. My liver tests were okay, but these are working at a deeper level. And what I found, or what we find when the target area needs to be regulated, is that you just sleep. Because there's some deep repair going on. When I took the first 10 days on liver bioregulators, I was having afternoon naps every day. So I was so tired because it was trying to repair.
Wow.
So I knew that was the right one for me. But if the only outcome that is that you're more tired, it's not always the best place to start with a peptide. But it's so individual. Yesterday I had a client that smokes. She goes, I want to look young. She looked great. She's 40, Italian, really good skin, hair. And she goes, so I want to do this in GHKCU. And she goes, I do smoke. I said, how long have you smoked for? She said, 30 years. I said, right, take this, but please take the lung bioregulator as well.
Okay, got it.
Regulate the lungs.
And I mean, so I just started working with Dr. Ozone.
Okay.
And I love them because my blood was high in heavy metals, microplastics, and mold. And I found them to do some ozone treatment, but then got more into EBU and inosphoresis. And starting with it's just a complete detail. It's like taking the oil out from your car and just like stripping the plates and the plaque from it. And this is such an amazing way to just like detox your whole body from everything.
Yep.
And then it's like, you're starting with a clean slate, clean body, and then we can start adding some of these peptides back in.
What an amazing way to do it, yeah.
Have you tried any kind of ozone plasma?
I've done EBO2, have lots of clients that's done the inosphoresis.
Awesome.
There's another one called HMO, which is a newer one, you know that one?
Yep.
So 3-day, that heats up, that's serious. I mean, that's invasive because it's heating your cells up to 100 degrees. And then it's opening your cells up, and then it's actually detoxing your cells. So we've seen, some reports of people, recovering from cancer using that.
Crazy, yeah. And then also taking out the spike proteins from the vaccinations.
Yes.
And I mean, these treatments are basically the only treatments that can really pull out all of these toxins. I think you and I are both doing all the things that we can to live our prettiest and best life. But there's so many things out of our control, the environmental stuff, the microplastics, and the mold.
Absolutely.
Are there peptides to help with that too, or not?
So there's a really interesting peptide. When you asked me about my favourite peptide, or one that's really interesting me at the moment, it was between two. It was ARA290 and FOXO4-DRI. So FOXO4-DRI is the DRI. I should probably explain it. It's a D-amino. So all these amino acids we've discussed today are all L-amino acids. Okay. It's the 20 amino acids that are found in the body. That's why the body recognises them. It's endogenous. The immune system doesn't react. And they're just different combinations of these 20 amino acids. There's a trillion different combinations we can do, right? So there's quite a lot of peptides to work on.
Yeah, how many peptides are there?
From what I'm aware of, 1,000. But obviously in the body, at any one time, there's 10,000. And transient processing is about 1 million a day, they think. They can't even test it, but they guess around 1 million a day. So FOXO4 in the body protects your cells from dying. That's what it does. Naturally, we do that. And what happens when we're aging, our cells are dying, senescent cells or zombie cells. So when they're dying, they can start to affect other cells. So they're zombie cells, they're biting other cells and then killing themselves, and that's just aging. So FOXO4-DRI it's a D-amino. So FOXO4 is a 46-chain amino acid, L-aminos. A D-amino is a reflection of the L-amino. From a scientific level, it would be like the L-amino acid looking in the mirror, and now it's a D-amino. And then what they do, they flip it around so it's the same chain. Okay, so the chain's the same, but it's a reflection of the original amino acid chain. So this 46-chain D-amino, so that's where the D comes in, FOXO4-D, and then it's retro-inverso, so it's inverted, right? So that's what DRI means. Yeah. So what this does, so the problem with FOXO4 in the body is it protects your senescent cells as well. So it's protecting the zombie cells from dying. Okay. So what this reverse FOXO4 does is it starts to kill the senescent cells only. So now it's taking all the senescent cells out of the body, so you're getting rid of all these old zombie cells, which is amazing for aging. Wow. Caveat to that, and the reason why I haven't done it myself is because we need to understand the protocol, because we have temporary senescent cells. Once you pull
it out, it's a detox, right?
That's right, and it's irreversible. So whatever cells we get rid of, it's irreversible, right? So this is potent. And it's people have been using it for a long time. I think this one, for say a long time, very new for a peptide, 2017, I think. Okay. And people have been using it, and they feel amazing. And they've been pulsing it, much like MOPSI. 2 to 3 times a week, 2 to 4 weeks. Don't push it, because you have senescent cells in the body. They're called temporary senescent cells, and they can help you heal. So if you start taking your temporary senescent cells out, you're not going to get them back. So again, I've seen these cheat sheets on social media drive me mad. Yeah. And I've seen these on these cheat sheets.
So many of them. Yeah.
And they're just all regurgitated. And half of them don't have peptides on them anyway. There are other compounds that don't even include peptides. And FOXO4 is doing the rounds. Again, I just encourage people to be extra careful with FOXO4 and MOPSI.
Cool. I love that. Okay. Where can people find more information? I mean, where would you go to get educated?
Now what I do, I use AI to challenge myself. Okay, so not on protocols. Not on protocols.
I was going to say,
do not go to AI.
Please, available to do that? Okay.
Please don't do that.
Do not get your protocols from ChatGTP.
No, let me rephrase it. Okay. If you're looking for help on peptides, just like I said before, find someone who's experienced, find someone who's been doing it a long time. They haven't just started talking about peptides, and you can find these people. The Peptide University have got some great doctors on there. Dr. Melissa's amazing. So there's some really good people on there. and even Facilious Longevity Labs, where I sit on the scientific advisory board. We've got a load of people on there as well. So these sort of people we know are good. The other sort of new doctors floating around are very, very much on the fence about it. For me, because I've been doing this a long time, I would never get my protocols, and no one ever should get their protocols from AI or Google.
Yeah.
Right? We need to do this. But on a scientific level, all AI is doing is pulling things from your biology books or advanced biology A levels and all this. So I use that just to understand what these peptides are doing in the body. So more on a technical level, because the protocols, I feel like most of them I've got them nailed down now. Once I speak to the individual, I feel like I've got them nailed down. I'm always open to be proven wrong, and I'm still very much learning, because there's always something new every day. But to really challenge myself at a biological level, and that's so I have conversations with AI. I said, right, so if this does this, and what could happen there if the body's in it? So that's how I'm educating myself, and of course I double check it. I don't just take
And what about like a newbie that wants to get a little bit better?
Just get on a discovery call with myself or one of my team members.
Great.
I didn't want to but you
No,
keep pushing me,
sure.
and at some point I have to say it.
Yeah, please.
But,
okay.
With me,
Great. Book a consultation with an expert. I mean, that's what we got to do.
Yeah, and if they say, look, for whatever reason we feel we should speak to someone medical, then I can direct them to someone medical.
Great. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I'm a huge community builder. One of the things that I've been doing with my co-founder, with my business partner, is building Soul Sessions.
Okay.
Soul Sessions is a sober coffee party company that we started about a year ago, because we wanted to bring in community and connection, lots of like natural hits of dopamine and oxytocin. And what we started off like in restaurants has now kind of turned into these like wellness raves. And so, for example, on this coming Sunday, we're at Blah Blah Beach Club, and we are having ice baths. We're having a longevity clinic there with their vibration plate and their red light and all these things. And so we're really pushing. We're trying to get Dubai's community, especially the biohacking wellness group, into these kind of events. You've been in Dubai a while. Where have you seen? I mean, where like these trends are just keeping on going. Like, what's your prediction of where this scene is going?
I spoke to someone the other day. One of my friends has opened 14 gyms here. He opened his first gym in 2012. I remember training it before it had the air conditioning. Now he's got 14.
Wow.
And then there's a guy that's behind all this who raises funds for this. And I said, the gym here is amazing, right? Where I'm staying at the moment, the gym's amazing. It's like a proper gym. And I said, there must be too many gyms in Dubai now. And he said, definitely not, because as Dubai keeps expanding, and it's like living in England for me, where you don't drive to another town to go to the gym. You have a gym within 10 minutes or 20-minute radius.
Totally. If it's not in your bubble, you're not going.
Exactly. So that's what they're doing here. So there's so much space for more gyms, and there's lots of these health optimization facilities opening. So they're just going to keep opening. And what's great about Dubai is the innovation. Compared to maybe where you and I are from, things get blocked very easily. Where here they're open to the research. So actually, does this work? Well, let's try it here. Let's give it a push. Let's be innovative, not just block it, because it doesn't fall into the norm. So that's what I really like about Dubai and the UAE.
Awesome. So you have UAEPeptides.com. You have your consulting. What else are you doing?
So I have the European business as well. So bioniclab.com and also dnresearch.com. I'm in discussions now with the Peptide University approached me to do a masterclass for their doctors and clinicians.
Wow.
That hasn't happened, but I'm just looking at doing my own online sort of training university platform, and then I might link to the Peptide University for more sort of individualized sort of indications. I sit on a company that works with mental health. We are using Erosin A, which is the root body of lion's mane, as a lollipop for children with ADHD. Because lion's mane doesn't actually break through the blood-brain barrier, so it's a little bit misunderstood.
Isn't that the only one that's like not legal in Dubai?
Currently.
Currently. Wow. Okay.
And so it's good. Lion's mane, people feel good. Again, it's probably indirectly they're feeling more positive, but it's to do with the Dalton size, and it has to be a certain size for it to break through the blood-brain barrier. I say BBB now, it's too hard to say. And Erosin A does that. So we've got loads of research going on in studies in Jersey, as in Jersey, England, not Jersey, America. I always need to say that, must be approved in the US. So we've got some studies going on there. We're also approved by the government to work with psilocybin. For mental health again, and that's what's interesting there is that we had to do it in